Hello everybody and welcome again to Tutorials Point. Well, with new jobs come new challenges. With your new workplace, you have to kind of adjust with so many different people, and because you are working with so many different people and different people have so many different opinions, some of which you might agree and some of it you might agree to disagree. So how do you deal with it? Well, just so as to make this situation easy for you so that your new workplace should not be a burden for you, we have made this video especially to smart ways to actually upskill you with smart ways to disagree with someone, respectfully. So usually the only problem with disagreement, well, unless and until everyone is agreeing to a particular thing, well, things are good to go. But in situations wherein kind of there's this disagreement, right, that is the point where the challenge starts, because you might have a particular opinion or there might be something different that you are looking for, and the person in front of you is actually presenting something that just does not fit in the firmament of your mind. So how do you deal with these situations? Well, actually, because obviously when you are in a work environment, disagreements and agreements, realignments, alignments, all of these things are bound to happen. Now, just so that you can deal with them easily, we have made this video so that things are no more troublesome for you at your workplace. So without further ado, let's go ahead and learn about smarter ways to disagree with someone respectfully. Well, first and the foremost thing, whenever any discussion is going on, or if there is some there are a group of people who are sitting in a meeting and everyone is presenting his or her own opinion, the very first thing, and actually you're in a position wherein you have to judge and decide and take a decision. So the very first thing, obviously, which we invariably need to do is to focus on facts. Well, everything kept aside, we definitely cannot ignore the facts. There are few fixed things probably which your client wants, and you cannot disregard them. You cannot ignore them, right? These are a few things or a few targets which, no matter how, by hook or by crook, we have to achieve them. So these are facts which cannot change. So definitely, no matter where the argument is going or no matter who is presenting what, do not forget to focus on the facts. Okay, well, we cannot afford to get personal. Well, of course, easier said than done, but we have this tendency, if there is some discussion going on and the person sitting in front of you, whatever opinion he or she is presenting, does not match with what you think of it, right? So at these or during these situations is when we tend to get personal, right? We are kind of prone to do that, but that is what you need to be very careful about, especially if you are in a senior position, because you might as well end up kind of spoiling your relations with your colleagues or your juniors, or for that matter, even if you are not in a managerial position, or you're just discussing something with your colleagues who are at the same level as yours, then also it is very, very important not to get personal, because office is a work wherein we all are discussing profession, and by virtue of that, we should not forget that, and we shouldn't be bent towards getting personal, otherwise we might just end up messing it. Well, recognize the good, yes, that is very true. Well, of course, I understand, or I definitely agree when someone would say that, okay, there are these situations, or there are whatever the person sitting in front of me has presented does not make any sense. Of course, agreed, but it is almost impossible that there is nothing good in it, right? There has to be, of course, the ratio of good versus bad would be, or successful versus unsuccessful would be, the ratio would differ, but you definitely cannot ignore, you definitely cannot just say over the top of your mind that there is nothing good in the argument that the person sitting in front of you is presenting. So be detached, and try and recognize and acknowledge the good also. For example, whatever you are saying, I definitely agree that this is going to help a lot, but the ways to achieve it might not be as feasible. So you might want to find out a different way to achieve the same target, but in kind of feasible ways. So again, you have recognized the strength of the argument, but at the same time, you also have presented what you are looking for or what you think is the drawback in achieving a particular target. So definitely do not forget to recognize the good just in case you want things to happen your way. Remember to listen. Yes, that is very right. The most important quality of a leader is listening. So if you're not able to listen, just kind of keep it in your mind that for you to become a leader is kind of very, very tough. Or even if you do step up the ladder, you might kind of end up becoming a dictator rather than a leader. Because for a leader to be really, really efficient, listening is something which is really, really required a lot. Otherwise, it kind of becomes as it kind of sounds, or the environment kind of becomes as if you're forcing your opinion on the person in front of you. So of course you don't want to let that happen, right? So do not forget to listen. Yes, using the I statements is again a very, very effective way or a very, very smart way of disagreeing with someone, but respectfully. So, when you're kind of just saying you, it sounds as if you're pointing out at the person, right? Or it just sounds like a direct attack. So instead of just you, if you also use I in that, or if you also introduce I in that statement, the onus is kind of distributed, right? For example, you feel this way, you have done it, and you are responsible for the failure of this project. You have brought this, this practice into use, and according to you, it should be working, but it is not working at all, right? So instead of saying wherein you have just used you and made the other person feel as if you're pointing out at him or her, if you say, well, I was thinking that we could probably use a different way to achieve this result, because when I heard the client say this is what they were expecting, but I definitely feel that you could find out a different way. Do you really think so? We could find out an alternative way of achieving this rather than just going by the traditional way. So once you are introducing I in it, right? So you are also being a part of that discussion, right? So you're also distributing, or you're also taking the onus on yourself instead of just saying you, because you kind of, it's like pointing out, right? So try and use I statements while you are disagreeing with someone, and you want to do it respectfully instead of just making it a direct attack. Well, last but not the least, know when to move on, because obviously you can disagree with, different people can have different opinions, and to actually prove their own opinion, they can go ahead to a certain extent, right? So there has to be a time when when you actually both the parties agree to disagree. Yes, if nothing works out, just agree to disagree, and that is probably the best way to maintain the dignity as well, because then you're not kind of compromising on the dignity, right? So you're maintaining a level-headed relationship, and at the same time you're also disagreeing. Well, if you are firm about a particular opinion, so am I. So I think we should just agree to disagree and move on. Yes, that's right. Well, friends, these were a few ways or a few kind of methods which you might want to apply at your workplace to really make it work for you the way it did work for me. So these are, just next time if you want to disagree with someone, just look at this video and learn about the different and smarter ways to disagree with someone, but respectfully. We'll see you again in the next video. Till that time, keep learning with Tutorials Point and Tutorix. Have a good day.